making a lot of mistakes today, okay? Forgot the salt, messed up my dishes. Hey fam, it's Lauren from Hot for Food. Today I'm gonna make a recipe from my friend School Night Vegan's cookbook, Anything You Can Cook, I Can Cook Vegan. Check it out. It is a gorgeous cookbook. This came out earlier this year and I've been meaning to share it on YouTube here and make something from it. All of it looks delicious. It makes you wanna jump into the page, eat the food, so delicious. He did all the photos himself, all the styling, all the propping, everything. I am very proud of you, Richard. It is a beautiful cookbook. You need this in your library. It's a staple one. There's hilarious pictures, in addition to the great food photos, there's hilarious pictures of Richard making funny faces in the chapter photos, like this one where he's taking whipped cream shots. I laughed out loud when I saw those. I had actually seen a lot of the recipe photos in advance because he showed them to me, but there were some surprises. The head notes are hilarious, like the writing is hilarious, just like Richard. If you follow his account, School Night Vegan, you definitely should be. We're gonna make the tofu salmon fillets today. I'm not gonna make the salad with it, which is like a beet lentil salad. I'm gonna actually just serve it over rice, keep it simple. I'll give you the recipe for the crispy tofu salmon fillets on hotforfoodblog.com, but then buy Anything You Can Cook, I Can Cook Vegan, because there's so much more packed into here. Loads of comfort food, homemade chicken, that is delicious. I've had it before, made by Richard himself. Sweets, breakfasts, brunches, like incredible things I would never even think of. And I do respect and admire Richard so much. He knows this, but I just think I called him the vegan genius we all need, because he spends meticulous amounts of time perfecting recipes, developing things, and really putting in the hard work. Something that I really don't have the patience to do anymore. Or it's not that I don't have the patience, I don't really have the time. And so I feel like Richard has come in and blown the vegan food scene out of the water here, and with these recipes you will see, and he will prove to you that he totally knows what he's doing. And I highly recommend this cookbook. It's gorgeous, and I'll link it below and everything on his blog and all that. So let's just get started and make these crispy tofu salmon fillets. They're made from firm tofu. I would say my tofu is yeah, it's a firm. It's not an extra firm. I would even go so far as to say maybe try the water-packed firm, just so it's a little softer, just a little more flaky like salmon. But he does call for firm. You're gonna drain the tofu and squeeze it as best you can, keeping the shape of it with a clean tea towel. It says to slice it into 2 fillets that are 5.5 by 2 inches. I felt the best way to do this was cut it on the bias diagonally and then cut that chunk in half. That creates about a 5 by 2 fillet. And to give it a more realistic shape, just like the one in Richard's photo, I'm trimming off like the top fatty part in a rounded edge there. Otherwise it's gonna look like a weird perfect triangle, and that's not what salmon looks like. It says to put a chopstick on either side of the fillet and then cut down with a knife, preventing obviously cutting right through, but I just did it by eyeball. So you're gonna make little slits all the way along the length. Now in a dish that is deep enough to submerge these fillets, you're gonna mix together beet juice. I have some from a pickled jar of beets, water, lemon juice. It says you can use soy sauce instead of vegan fish sauce, which I used. Oh, and I didn't add the salt, I forgot. We can just salt the tofu at the end. As you can see, the dish I used did not fit my fillets, so I'm switching to a bowl. So you're gonna marinate this for at least an hour. I would even recommend going longer personally, but for time, I'm only gonna do an hour today. When that's done, take out the fillets and pat them dry with a paper towel. Now for the skin, you're gonna take a sheet of sushi nori and then a rice paper wrapper or rice paper sheet. I just cut these at the same time by layering them. You're gonna cut rectangles that are the size of the top of the tofu fillet. Just like this. You need a very sharp knife to cut through the rice paper wrapper. Now you're gonna fill a shallow bowl with water and potato flour. This is gonna be the coating for the fillets to help them crisp up. First, you'll dip the rectangles of rice paper in this until they're mostly softened. Place this on top of the nori that is sitting on top of the salmon fillet. I kind of just pressed them on until it felt like jelly-ish. Then use a brush to brush the water and potato flour mixture all around the fillet on all sides. I decided to use a cast iron pan, thinking this would get it the most caramelized and be hot enough. So I heated this over medium heat with vegetable oil, about 2 tablespoons of it. Once it's hot, you place the skin side down first and fry for about 2 to 3 minutes until crispy. And then you're gonna flip onto all other sides of the fillet and fry for about 2 minutes or until golden brown. There's the salmon fillet, and I'm just garnishing with some chives. Obviously dill goes with salmon. I don't know, I just want to make it look a little prettier. As you can see, the skin on mine has shrunken, so I guess a little tip would be to cut the rectangle actually longer than the fillet. I would say at least a third in length longer because it shrinks. Okay, it doesn't look quite as meticulously perfect as School Night Vegan's salmon fillet. I don't know how he friggin' did that. I mean, obviously you're styling for a cookbook, so you're going for full effect, but it still looks pretty good. I forgot the salt in the marinade. That was probably a pretty key ingredient. So I just added some more sweet soy sauce as like a drizzle on top to give it more flavor. I have to say, following other people's recipes is difficult. I'm sure that's what you find when you read my recipes. You skip over something. Like, what is it about the way a recipe's written that like we can't do it? I don't know, it's so weird. And nothing against Richard, it's just like my recipes are written this way too. I don't know how I skipped the salt. Well, wait a second, the salt's not in there. 2 teaspoons of salt, that's weird. See, this is just a stupid formatting thing about cookbooks, is that, I think anyway, their particular style at this publisher is they wrote fine sea salt at the bottom, where they should have put it up in order of the marinade so that I wouldn't forget it. But then in the instructions, it just says fine sea salt in the ingredients, but then it says 2 teaspoons of salt in the actual instructions. But if I'm being honest with you, when I read a recipe, I just kind of follow the ingredient list and I glaze over the instructions because I kind of know what to do. But anyways, I think that's just a formatting thing. Every publisher has a different way of doing recipes. Like, some don't put in exact measurements of salt in the ingredient list. It's okay. It happens. This looks great though, even though it doesn't look as meticulously perfect as Richard's. But let's dig in. It's obviously going to be missing some salt. I feel like I need a knife. I'm just going to use my big knife here to cut into it. Now at the end of the day, I'm not really expecting this to be like salmon. I barely remember what salmon is like, but clearly like it's tofu. I think it's a fun way to serve tofu. It's all about tricking the senses. So if it looks like a salmon fillet and then it kind of has a reminiscent taste like the nori, the soy flavor, you think you're eating salmon. I think the salad that he has it with would be delicious. I just didn't want to go the extra mile and do that. That skin gets very crispy on top. Another tip, I would just marinate it as long as possible. I think the longer the better, because then it would definitely seep inside more, which after an hour it didn't entirely do. Maybe I cut my fillets wrong, I don't know. Hopefully Richard's not mad at my execution. It is always user error, it's execution. I mean, you either have a finesse for it or you don't, and obviously it's my first time making this. If I were to do it a second time, you know, diving in, it's almost like I was testing it right now. So it's like, I would bring my finesse to it next time. I'd make that skin longer. I would have to imagine that's what he did because it shrinks so much. Okay, anyway, check out School Night Vegan's account on Instagram at School Night Vegan. Author Richard Macon, he's amazing. Pick up the book, Anything You Can Cook, I Can Cook Vegan, linked below. I put the recipe for the fillets on hotforfoodblog.com so you can get that recipe and try it out yourself. Let me know what you think. And I will be making another video with a recipe from another cookbook that I'm excited about, Danae Moore's book, Plentiful, with vegan Jamaican recipes. It's very exciting. So I'll be making some beefy, cheesy Jamaican patties. So stay tuned for that coming up on the channel. I thought I would share, I get a lot of cookbooks sent to me and I want to share the love and try new things that I haven't made myself. So that's what we're gonna do for the next few videos. All right, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, thumbs up, comment, etc., etc., and follow at Hot for Food as well on Instagram. I'll see y'all next time.